Hi, I'm Karen Hurt, and we're here with our next edition of Asking for a Friend. Today, we are talking about career advice. I have two fabulous guests talking about their new book. I wish I'd known this. So, Kathryn, Heath, Brenda, Wensil, thank you so much for joining us today.
We're happy to
We're
be
glad
here.
to be here.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Okay, today we're gonna be focused on very practical career advice for women. But before we start, I'd really just love to know what inspired you to write this particular book.
Great question. What really inspired us is because we're trying to help women advance and accelerate faster. And as coaches, Kathryn and I both have worked with hundreds and hundreds of women everywhere. And we noticed 6 patterns that tended to be either blind spots that can slow us down or get us stuck, or they can turn into accelerators. And that's really what the book is about. We thought, why go to, why have worked with women all over the world and as many as we have, and not share this with women who maybe couldn't afford a coach or couldn't, have a coach or couldn't be a part of a program. These are things that women everywhere can learn and benefit and share from. So we wanted to put it out there in the world and help women advance wherever they are.
Fantastic. Well, here at Asking for a Friend, we are all about really practical tips and advice. So I just love to hear from each of you just one piece of advice based on your book that, women tuning in and listening to this who are looking to advance their careers, what are some things to look out for and how could they approach it?
Well, one of the patterns that we saw in our coaching, as Brenda said, we've coached hundreds of women, is that there was this blind spot of women trying to do the career by themselves or going it alone. And I always say the biggest career mistake is the one you'll make by yourself. And we found, for example, a story that we hear over and over again. I'm coaching a woman and she has to make a career choice. And I said, well, who can you talk to about this besides me? And she said, well, I bet I could probably talk to my sister. And I said, there's nobody else. I mean, sisters are good. I got one. But who else? And she really didn't have anybody else to talk to. And we feel like you've got to have people around you that are, we call it your posse. And they are people who are kind of like your agents, your sports agents. They're talking you up. They amplify what you say in a meeting. But you've got to have this group with you. When I had a career, I worked in financial services for a long time. And I thought the story in my head is that I needed to be strong. I needed to do it by myself. And asking for help was a weakness. And we think humility is overrated. You've got to tell people what you want to do, where you want to go, and ask them to help you and help them back. It's crucial to do that so that we don't hear these stories of people they're not leveraged. They don't have people that help them in their home life. They're trying to do everything themselves. And you got to create a news story for yourself, like I did, where I had to realize that I had to ask other people to help me. And what we always say, if you want to go quickly, you can go alone. But if you want to go far, you got to go together.
So, Kathryn, I love that. And we talk about that. You need a mentor and a sponsor. You need to have all these peer relationships, and you have to have people you're developing. And so I'm a 27-year-old woman, and I'm just starting out my career, and I'm listening to this, and I go, that sounds great. How do I get that? I'd love to have that, but where do I start?
You start with keeping up with people you went to school with. You start by keeping up colleagues that left. You've got to manage your career. You're going to do it for a long time. And what we find is that a lot of people do their work, and you got to do that, but you also have got to manage your career, put it on your calendar. That's practical. Just call people for lunch, coffee, tell them what you want to do, get their advice, but have this posse that goes with you and keep up with them.
Good. Okay. So, Brenda, how about you?
Oh, I definitely have a favorite one here.
Okay.
I find in my own life this one resurfaces. But it's all about knowing what your reputation is and what people think it is. And I think the marketing world calls this a brand. We often call this a personal brand, but we've sort of recast it in this book. We call it reputationality, and I'll tell you why. There's a whole chapter on it. Reputationality is all about how you take what you're known for, your reputation, your credentials, the things you love to do, the things you do well, the things that that people know, call you for, and you match that up with your personality, which is the biggest differentiating thing we have. We can all have experience that looks the same, but our personalities and our core values and who we are and how we operate as people is very, very distinctive. It's very personal. And when you put those two things together, it becomes something really genuine and really authentic and really different and really powerful. And so what we say to women all the time is, what do you want to be known for? If you stop someone in a hallway and said, give me 3 words that describe you, what are those 3 words? And then you have to match that up with, what are the 3 words you want to be known for? And that's an oversimplification of that exercise. But the point is, you have to be very on purpose and deliberate about what you want that reputation to look like, what part of your personality you want to come forward into your work and to be known for. And then you have to go ask people, what do you think of when you think of me? Why do people call me? And you can always reinvent. This is why this one's so important, is it's never static. It might be for a small moment in time, but as we go throughout our careers, I think we all know that you have to be resilient. You have to reinvent. You have to repurpose your skills and transfer them to other industries or companies or whatever it is. And so the constant habit and the constant discipline and practice around thinking through on purpose what you want it to be, and then deciding and listening to the market to say, is that what people are picking up? Are they picking up what I'm putting down, kind of thing? Yeah. And then if it's not, go work on that. You've got to articulate and communicate differently. So that's my favorite one. I think it can be the single most elevating aspect of what we do for our careers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. So as you have in your book where you have your message, and then you said, this is what I want to be known for. And then you said, what's this story that you're telling? What's that story that you're telling? And this one, and to be really planful in that, which I really, really love. It's also interesting, and we teach this as in our leadership development programs, that people to encourage them to go on a listening tour and ask very specific questions about people, and then gather all those themes from those questions. And it's also interesting, sometimes what you're known for can help you inform what your brand could be.
100%.
It's interesting because as I was, as I was building Let's Grow Leaders, after having been in corporate America, working for Verizon for 2 decades, people were saying, you're just very practical. And at first it was like, I don't know if I want to be the practical person. Right. And then I realized, no, they want that. And so then so it helped me inform how to position our brand. And people were seeing things that I wasn't even actually noticing because I've been living with it for so long.
Absolutely. And what we say often to women is don't fight your brand, play into it. You're going to hear things that really call on your strengths, and you have to be able to absorb those into your brand and use it to your advantage. And it's not uncommon for us to do the feedback, like you said, and hear feedback that says this sort of counter. I'm hearing great things, but what I really wanted to be known for was something else. And so that's okay too, especially as we transition our careers and we move into new roles and new teams or new companies. That's to be expected. And I think that's why this is so important. You've just got to be on purpose all the time about it.
Excellent. All right. We are at time. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Give us a wave of your book. We'll put notes in the comments of how you can find it, and really appreciate you being here today on Asking for a Friend.
We enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.